following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good. How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico and Haan and Paige Clarke.
Good morning, I'm Nico and Haan. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world.
To recover our natural health, our rights, and our freedoms. Good morning. I'm Paige Clarke.
And it's a beautiful morning in downtown Clearwater, Florida. It's 52 degrees and sun shining. It's a little brisk for us, but boy, it feels really nice.
We like it.
Yes, indeed.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, happy Halloween. Mm-hmm. And remember to pick up our Primal Edge, folks. One Shot Wonder. It's over 310 cell-ready organic ingredients.
And subscribe to our Health Signals newsletter. $10 a month. You get 2 issues in your inbox, and you've got all kinds of clickable links to news you can use.
Yeah, you can
Stay
do your
healthy.
own research that way. And, of course, next one comes out next Tuesday.
That's great. Give us a call. If you're up and at it, 877-927-6648.
That's right. So, happy Halloween. Kind of mixed feelings about this holiday always. When I was a kid, of course, went trick-or-treating because the pull always was the candy. I was a candy-holic.
It was the fun of the candy, and it was the fun of the getting dressed up.
Yeah.
That was a big part. I mean, it was really a fun holiday as a kid, I remember.
One of the fondest memories I have is my mother always making my costume. She would ask me what I'd want, and then she'd kind of surprise me. And one year she put this whole cat uniform with a tail and everything, so that was pretty cool. But boy, I collected a lot of candy way back then. And then later on, when I sort of went against candy and sugar, I goes, okay, Halloween, I really don't like it. But you know what I really enjoy is when the little kids come and they're stumbling around and might be their first one, and then they're so cute.
Yeah,
and they don't really know what to do yet either.
Yeah.
But, so it's really cool. And then a couple hours later, you have the 15 and 16-year-olds still coming.
Like, hey, what's up with you?
Exactly. But I found an article that was pretty interesting, how Halloween became one of the biggest drinking holidays of the year.
I want to go over that, but can we just, before we get into that, let's kind of go over some of the history of Halloween.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Right. I mean, it is an annual holiday, and it's celebrated each year on October 31st, but it actually has its roots in age-old European traditions, and it originated with the ancient Celts. It was a festival called Samhain. Yeah, Samhain is what it looks like, but Samhain, when people would light bonfires, and they would wear the costumes to ward off ghosts and evil spirits.
Oh, that's pretty
so I
cool.
think that's a kind of an interesting twist. Now when you see some of these scary costumes, it's not really a celebration of evil. It was designed to
ward off evil. Okay.
And in the 8th century, Pope Gregory III designated November 1st as a time to honor All Saints. Soon, and All Saints' Day incorporated some of the traditions of this Celtic holiday. The evening before was known as All Hallows' Eve, and later Halloween, and over time Halloween evolved into a day of activities like trick-or-treating, carving jack-o'-lanterns, and around the world as the days grow shorter and the nights get colder, people continue to usher in this season with gatherings, costumes, and sweet treats.
I imagine that the original idea was to ward off those evil spirits of winter when the sun is growing shorter and shorter, so the days grow shorter, have more nighttime. More nighttime means the evil spirits are around more, so this would be kind of natural. I'm glad you brought that up. And, of course, in the spring, then the spring celebration really is wrapped around Easter and things like that. But
yeah, it says the day marked the end of summer and the harvest, and the beginning of the dark, cold winter.
Okay.
And it was a time of year that was often associated with human death. The Celts believed that on the night before the new year, November 1st being their new year, the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead became blurred. And on the night of October 31st, they celebrated this holiday, and it was believed that the ghosts of the dead would return to the earth. So the costumes became a way of keeping them away from you.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's
in addition
really
to causing trouble and damaging crops, comes back to agriculture and stuff, Celts thought that the presence of the otherworldly spirits made it easier for the Druids or the Celtic priests to make predictions about the future. For a people entirely dependent on the volatile natural world, these prophecies were an important source of comfort and direction during the long, dark winter.
Pretty interesting. So now the news is that we've gotten a lot of different kind of costumes wrapped around alcohol. You can see all these costumes here on the telestrator. Different people, Fireball whiskey, Crown Royal, Bud Light, just plain beer.
Yeah, the costuming, I mean, amongst the millennials and so forth, it's big business. I mean, gosh, it's a huge business now. And I feel like when we were younger, it was kind of like it was a kid's holiday.
Yeah.
And now it's becoming a young adults holiday as well. The dollars are saying it is true.
The dollars are saying that even though the millennials that are 21 to 29 years old make up about a quarter of the population, they drink about a third of the alcohol. So that's kind of disturbing in a sense. For consumers, they're eagerly wearing all these costumes. I haven't seen those. I guess they don't come to my house, but I guess they're going into the bar.
They're going out. They're going to Halloween parties.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go through your Facebook feed and you can see, you know, people are partying or having Halloween parties and so forth.
Of course, these theme parks in Florida all are having the Halloween get thing.
Yes,
and that isn't just for the kids. It is for the adults, for sure.
Yeah, sales of adult-sized Halloween costumes are at an all-time high. And these theme parks are usually overrun by overstimulated little kids and so forth. Now they host a different sort of clientele. It is the young adult. It's kind of a boozy, over 21 crowd that's hanging out and celebrating Halloween and making money for people selling alcohol and costumes in the theme parks.
Kind of cool. You know, it's like I said, I have mixed feelings about it, but now I've still handing out candy. I thought, you know, let's hand out some money, let's hand out some good treats, but kids really just want the candy, so it's the cheaper way to go.
Yeah, my kid's orthodontist, kind of cool. He trades in candy for dollars.
Oh.
He buys the candy off of you.
Oh, cool.
That's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, a cool thing.
You know, collect the candy and then get rid of it.
What's the best costume you ever wore?
I was a dirty Girl Scout one year.
I probably like that one, yeah.
I actually won a costume. I was at a drinking establishment.
Oh, now the truth comes out. I see. Okay.
That was kind of fun.
Well, I hope everybody enjoys Halloween and has a safe Halloween. And if you, one thing we have around our neighborhood, they close off the streets, and our streets are in a nice circle.
Like a block party?
Kind of a block party where all the kids everybody comes from around the neighborhood, and that's where they walk, nice and safe. The police are there, so that's a good thing too. So
yeah. So wherever you are, be safe and have a good time.
In the meantime, pick up the Health Signals newsletter. Like I said, I got a brand new one coming out next Tuesday. Please take time to look at our Primal Edge, over 310 organic, cell-ready ingredients, all powered by the humic and fulvic acid. I let the good stuff in.
Bad stuff out.
That's right. Sorry, I threw that at you there. Okay, we'll be right back, folks. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
That's our sweet, playful owl. Thanks, Al.
Thanks, that was cool.
You know, here's kind of a scary thought, though. Maybe better is not better. It's an article from Science Daily says the world's better countries have higher rates of cancer.
Yeah, those are the ones with the greater access to health care.
Including
like
the U.S.,
country.
right.
Yeah.
They experience much higher rates of cancer incidence than the world's worse-off countries, according to new research from the University of Adelaide. And researchers say this is a result of relaxed natural selection because modern medicine is enabling people to survive cancers and their genetic backgrounds are passing from one generation to the next. I don't know if I buy that.
That's exactly what crossed my mind. I'm not sure either. But if you go down a little bit farther, they say the rate of cancers have doubled and even quadrupled in the world over the last 150 years.
Well, let's just pay a little more attention to the JFK files that are being released, and maybe we'll get down to finding out exactly why cancer came about.
Maybe so. What'd you tell us?
Well, I mean, that's what Oswald and all those people were working on. Dr. Mary's Monkeys. If you haven't watched that movie, that's
I have
something.
watched that.
Yeah, you know, they were actually trying to design a stealth bioweapon to get Castro, and who's to say that all that technology isn't being used today as people, you know, when they want them to be eliminated? And unfortunately, what we found out was there were viruses that ended up in the vaccines. So really, quite frankly, these other countries that are worse off, where they don't have access to vaccines, they're much better off because they're not having cancer because they didn't get vaccinated. And this is not a conspiracy fact. This is the truth. Most of the vaccines in the U.S. were tainted with the SV40 virus, which is a cancer-causing virus, and that is a lot of the reason we have the cancer epidemic today.
That's very interesting. Now, here it says modern medicine has enabled the human species to live much longer than otherwise expected in the natural world. It says besides the obvious benefits that modern medicine gives you, it also brings an unexpected side effect, allowing genetic material to be passed from one generation to the next that predisposes people to poor health, such as type 1 diabetes and cancer.
I I don't buy that either.
Because of the
allowing because this is written by Science Daily, and this is a organization or group think that still passes along that false thinking that your genes control your destiny, and that's just not the case. Genes control less than 2% of our diseases, and very few cancers, so forth. Cancers are an environmental disease, and the reason that we see so much cancer in better countries, such as the U.S., is we are filled with toxins.
No, I think that's very true. I think
and intervention.
I think these things can be passed on, and I think that you can be more susceptible, but as we've talked about before, it matters what you do now. So in other words, if you have these genes, and some people may have these genes, if you get your act together, eat properly, don't do some of the things that we talk about, like the flu shots and things like that, that weaken the immune system, then I would say you're probably changing what's going on, if that's the case. So I think both things are, liable in this. I think because we're living longer, we are susceptible to more things, but I think we can change that. I think we are the ones in control.
Well, I think, again, like what we know, many of the people that quote vaccines have saved lives, the truth is it was sanitation that saved lives, not
No
the
doubt about it.
vaccines. It was
Yep.
the sanitation that decreased.
Better practices in medical operation.
Like washing your hands before you deliver
Exactly,
a baby, after
yeah.
you've dealt with a dead person. I mean,
Yep.
that makes kind of sense. But it was really the adoption of hygiene, health and hygiene practices that actually.
Yeah, and we're not talking about having a baby in the field and your hands are dirty and you help the baby. We're talking about operating rooms that are sterile, but then things are just kind of left in there. The practices weren't that great in the old days when you had people flying through an operating room. Imagine in a wartime, an operating room. It's not that sterile, and they do miraculous work. So
Right.
I think the hygiene is partially true, but we know also of instances where the hygiene isn't that great and people are saved all the time just with knowledge of how to stop bleeding and doing those types of things. So I think both things are true, and I think that the most important thing I got out of this article, if we are predisposed, we better get our act together. Who knows if we're predisposed? I guess we can look at our family history, but even my grandmother died of cancer, my dad died of cancer, my sister died of cancer, so I have that in me. So if I do have that gene, I'm trying to do as much as possible with clean living, with everything that I've learned not to get cancer. And if I do get cancer, then I'm going to treat it not according to the, I don't know what I do. Let's tell you the truth. I mean, it depends what it is, I guess. I don't know if I had stem cell research. I don't know what I do. It's what my sister said, this is my dilemma, and I have to make those decisions. And I guess I'd go natural. That seems the most logical thing for me. And I try to seek the advice of people that we talk about on the show.
Right.
But it is a dilemma, I mean, if...
It's about keeping your immune system healthy.
That is
and
it.
as we kind of transition here, here's a new bombshell article that kind of came out on naturalnews.com. Flu shots scientifically proven to weaken the immune response in subsequent years. And it has researchers stunned. It doesn't stun me. It's exactly what I believe happens. I've never been a fan of using the flu shot, and this medical study was conducted at The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center, found that women who received flu vaccines had a weakened immune system response in subsequent years. So I think we see this all the time. People are taking their flu shots, and then they end up with the flu.
Yeah, I like this little graphic here in Telestrator. I don't always read fiction, but when I do, it's a vaccinated-related study manufactured by the CDC.
I don't always read fiction. Yeah, he's got it right there. That's exactly right. And, really, this PhD researcher, Lisa Christian, the lead researcher on this study, concluded that there was growing evidence showing that those who received a flu shot in the prior year have a lower antibody response in the current year.
Yeah, the latest flu shot study demonstrates once again that the official story we hear every year from the vaccination industry and the CDC and mainstream media is not to be trusted. Sadly, one must be a scientist today to determine whether or not you are drawn to a particular vaccine and it's going to do you harm. But, those are the kind of tests we don't have out there.
That's true. And really, the idea is that many people feel like they're doing something to prevent it, but many of the flu shots are developed with previous strains, and they're not effective against the flu that's actually active anyways.
Well, they're kind of guessing. They usually mix up 2 or 3 in one little batch, and they're hoping that by the time it gets to the United States, remember most of these flu epidemics begin in Asia and then come over here last, so they're trying to figure out what is what. I've never had a flu shot, have you?
Nope, never had one.
No.
No, I mean, unless my parents gave me one, and my mom...
I don't think that was happening back then.
No. I mean, actually, there's more adverse effects, even with the vaccine adverse effects reporting system from the flu shot than any other vaccine, folks. So there's better ways to build your immunity in the fall for the flu, and we'll chat about some of that perhaps after the short break.
We'll be
Stay
right
with
back.
us.
We'd like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen, live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den, absolutely free, for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And welcome back to the show. I'm reading an article here from Matthew and Associates, which is a law firm.
I think it's interesting that a law firm is being aggressive and sharing information, the truth about the flu shot. Although more and more law firms are starting to realize that there's a lot of damage from vaccines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it says here, here's the score then. The more flu shots one takes, the more susceptible one is to acquiring full-blown flu. Yes, incredibly, the flu shots themselves are leading to an increase in ends
Influenza.
infection. And the self-defeating spiral of insanity that enriches drug companies and the CDC, which owns some 57 vaccine patents while making us all sicker.
Yeah, the flu vaccine only helps perpetuate the myth that flu vaccines are needed by ensuring influenza spreads more rapidly than it would otherwise. And that's what we've seen, folks. We've seen some of these outbreaks, say the mumps at the universities. We've had the mumps outbreaks and the measles outbreaks. These were all outbreaks that occurred in a vaccinated population.
A flu vaccine spread the very infection that generates more demand for flu vaccines.
Yeah, so Mike Adams of naturalnews.com, who is a forensic scientist of food forensics and has his own laboratory, and as well as running probably one of the most popular health sites. He is often censored by Google, but who isn't? Who tells the truth today? He also gives these other gems regarding the flu shot. Number one, people who submitted to a 2008 flu shot suffered a 250% increase in influenza infection in subsequent years.
Yeah, and a study published in Human and Environmental Toxicology found that mercury-laced flu vaccines caused 4,250% increase in fetal deaths during the 2009 flu season.
That's a huge number. Let's say that number again. 4,250% increase. That's
the highest increase I think you
yeah.
can
Why
make.
in the world would you want to inject a pregnant mother with a virus
And mercury.
and mercury and all those toxins to prevent something that she may never even get?
That's true.
Number three, the flu shot narrative pushed by the vaccine industry is a medical hoax that's easily disproved by fact-based evidence.
Yes, and people who take flu shots will be the first to go into an actual global pandemic because they have been made vulnerable to infections.
Not to go into, but they would be the first to die
Yeah,
off because
they already have it.
they've got a suppressed immune system. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense, guys. So I think this is interesting, all those law firms. I like it. Indeed, it is not as it appears in reports from the mainstream media. If the powers that run the media really cared about the health of all of us, they would give us honest reporting about the flu vaccine. So if you need help with getting yourself ready during this flu season, there are other healthy ways. Look into homoprophylaxis, which is taking homeopathics to help build your immune system. Good herbal-based immune fortification is the best with good nutrition and rest.
Taking things like the Primal Edge, taking your aminos.
Exactly.
Those are all good things. Here's a shingle problem. The shingle vaccine has been shown to give people shingles or to damage a person's eyesight. It, too, is a dubious vaccine which a person would be wise to research before blindly submitting to. One law firm has heard from more than one person who reported going blind or nearly blind shortly after submitting to that shingles vaccine. Of course, shingles comes about because the
immune system is suppressed?
Well, the immune system is suppressed, but they get the shots for the chickenpox early in life, and because no chickenpox show up, then the related disease is the shingles.
That's exactly correct.
Yeah. So what happens is now, because we're getting less and less of the measles and the chickenpox and these kinds of diseases, we used to have these parties that
the disease is suppressed, like homeopathy.
Yeah.
The true disease has been suppressed.
So what happens in chickenpox, if you go near somebody, if you've had it already and you go near somebody that has the chickenpox, say you're in your 30s, now you get like an immune system boost from that person because you've already had it. And because this isn't happening before, we're getting a real epidemic of people that are in their 50s and up that now contract the shingles because they've had chickenpox, or even sometimes they haven't had chickenpox.
Right. Yeah.
But they're not susceptible to this natural herd immunity that we get from a lot of these diseases. A lot of these childhood diseases are precursors to larger epidemics.
Well,
but
let's
we
put it
don't
this
get them
way.
because
These childhood diseases are an important education
There you
step
go.
in the
Good
immune
way of
system.
putting
We want our, quite frankly, if you could find a measles party, I'd be the first one to take my grandkids there. I would like them to be exposed to that because now we know that childhood exposure to measles and so forth actually educates the immune system and may prevent many cancers down the road. So So viral infections are your body's ability, is a way that your body is being educated. Your immune system is being fortified.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, this weekend, like some family members of mine, my little niece had high fever, and everyone is. I was watching all the Facebook people. Oh my God, take her to the doctor. Give her some Tylenol. And no, don't. Be smart, monitor it if it's over 105, 106. Be in touch with the doctor,
Sure.
But give her baths, give them essential oils, give them nutrients.
How about some skin-to-skin contact, that
exactly.
type of thing.
Hold them, and do not use liver-damaging Tylenol, ibuprofen, all of these fever reducers. The fever is there to raise the temperature because
So it can fight the disease. Yeah.
so the white blood cells can be activated, and so that these parasites, these bugs, these germs that are out of control can be nullified because they thrive in a normal body temperature. But when the fever raises, it makes it hard for them to thrive. So you want that fever.
Yeah. There's also there's arguments from parents who tell the parents of unvaccinated children to keep their children away from the vaccinated people. Well, there's something to consider along the same lines of reasoning. When somebody takes a flu shot, we now know that they are not only raising their own risk of getting a flu, they are walking around with an activated flu virus.
It's called vaccine shedding.
Yeah, potentially infecting everyone with whom they come in contact with.
Yeah, if vaccines worked, why would we be concerned about unvaccinated folks? Why should they be concerned? Unvaccinated children.
No, they
If the
wouldn't get it
vaccines-
if it worked.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. And so it's actually, and we know this now, that the reason they're pushing these vaccines is good for business, but in fact, vaccination causes the diseases that you're being vaccinated because people shed the viruses. So in effect, a person who is a compliant person and gets their vaccines is a walking around time bomb infecting others.
But not only that, we were also bombarded. Remember, it was just the CDC handing out the vaccines for a long time, but now every darn drugstore, even
Well, they got a little
your
money in
grocery
it.
stores, yeah, because the money involvement, they get a kickback for every shot that they give. Some doctors also do, so there's a big money thing involved, allowing them to just almost say, you have to have this. God, now is the time. There's a big push. You see it on TV. You see it everywhere. Mm-hmm. So people are being pushed into this, and a lot without the education of not listening to our show.
Well, as we said, it's as Pasteur was proved wrong, and Bouchon was right.
That's right.
Maintain your terrain.
That's right.
Fortify your fortress, folks, and
Good way to
protect yourself from those vaccinated folks that are shedding
And
their
here's a good way
disease
to
walking
do it
around.
right here. The Primal Edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair back.
That's the number one spot right there. We'll be right now. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, and today is Halloween, and we've got the Day of the Walking Dead, but actually the truth is, are we walking around, are we living longer or dying sooner? And this article in Bloomberg says Americans are dying faster, and this includes our millennials. And this was a special study that has been going on. The latest best guesses for U.S. lifespan comes from a study released this month by the Society of Actuaries. The average 65-year-old American man should die a few months short of his 86th birthday, while the average 65-year-old woman gets an additional 2 years and barely misses her 88th.
Yeah, this new data turns out to be a disappointment. Over the past several years, the health of Americans has deteriorated, particularly that of the middle-aged non-Hispanic whites.
Yeah, it says that culprits are drug overdoses, suicide, alcohol poisoning,
liver disease.
and liver disease.
And this according to a study done in Princeton University that was issued in December. Partially as a result, life expectancy for 65-year-olds is now 6 months shorter than last year's actuarial study. So longevity for younger Americans is also affected.
Yeah, they're seeing this across baby boomers, Generation Xers, and even millennials.
Yeah.
And Americans increasingly need an accurate sense of how long they'll be able to live, because we got to make sure we have enough money left.
That's for sure, yeah.
Employers shift from traditional pensions, which sent a regular check for life, to individual 401k accounts, means workers must figure out retirement on their own.
Yeah, when you die, becomes a crucial, viable
Variable.
Okay. So
Which helps determine how much you need to save. I mean, that is a key point. A lot of people have really not calculated that retirement income, and projected out what needs to be going on. I mean, hopefully we're all starting to pay attention. If you die at 95 and your retirement could be twice as expensive than if you died at 80.
Yeah, of course, there's a lot of things that you can do. Of course, you have the Social Security, and if you have a 401k, then you can get a monthly stream. If you win the lottery, you can get a monthly stream. So there's ways of doing that. But if you imagine if you're just relying on Social Security and you haven't, say you've earned $50,000 or $60,000, there's not a lot of money coming back to you. You can't live off of $1,500 a month. You can, but it's not a greatest life, not in this time. And who knows, 20 years from now, if you're
I don't think
now in
anybody
your
really
80s.
takes it serious. You start to look at this stuff and maybe have an insurance person educate you when you're in your 20s or 30s. You're like, yeah, that's so far from now.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you wake up and you're
All of a sudden, you're 70
A
years
double
old.
nickel.
Yeah, now you can money stream, and you wonder how long it's going to last. It is perplexing, and it's confusing sometimes. And you're right. When I was in my 20s, I never thought about it. That's too far away. I can always start saving in my 30s or 40s, which you don't do. So yeah, that's not good. But Longevity is much of an art as it is a science. The simple way to calculate life expectancy is to look simply at how many people are dying at every age. If you want to know a 25-year-old's chance of hitting 100, you just calculate their chances of getting through the next 75 birthdays unscathed.
So looking at the current data, what are the chances of dying at, say, 25, 26, 27, 28, and so on? But the problem with that simple calculation is that it assumes that life expectancy won't improve over the next 75 years. Today's 25-year-olds could be kept alive by safety technologies and medical treatments that don't exist yet. At least that's kind of what we hope. We have the assumption and the hope that we will continue to see improvements, but that's not what's panning out.
No, and
what's
also,
not panning out is even though we have all these technologies, we are also have greater.
I think about the cryo
toxins
thing.
And so forth.
I think about freezing your body, taking your head off, just freezing your head, and hopefully in 75 or a couple of hundred years.
Take your head off.
That's what they do. Yeah, they just they take your brain and they freeze it, and some of them use the whole body, but a lot of them just take the head.
What do you mean? What?
Well, they take the head, they put it in a cryo freeze, and then hopefully in 300 years somebody finds out how to revive you, get rid of whatever killed you, build you a new body on top of maybe an android body or something like that, and then your brain wakes up and you go, oh man, I'm here. It's 2375.
I just don't buy it.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of companies that are doing this.
Well, that's for rich people that
of course.
have money.
Of course.
And they actually,
I mean, how much does it cost to keep you in a freezer?
They actually think they're this jumpsuit. See, I mean, stop and think about it. I mean, stop and think about this. When we look at the fertility business, young couples are freezing their eggs, and then at some later date, they say, okay, we're ready to have a baby or whatever. If I stuck you in the freezer, you would die, okay? So freezing temperature does not support.
Well, I mean, these things are viable afterwards. They said 20 years frozen for a sperm, and it can definitely live, and people have done that. But the problem is not that so much as why are we not fertile?
Well, that's what we get back to.
Yeah, this is back to the toxins. Many things going on.
No, but what I'm trying to say is that it's the vital life force, the chi, the prana, the spirit, that is what animates a body. This is a biological computer. It's just like you get in your car. If you turn it off, it's not running if the keys aren't in it. That electricity, that electrical force has to be in the place. And that spirit doesn't survive in a frozen environment. So it has to come and go, I think. I don't know. It's just crazy.
There's many things we don't know. We certainly don't know what happens to us when we die, and can we be revived? We know none of that because it's never happened, except in mythology and religions and things like that, where people have to believe it and not see it.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, it's true. Education may make a difference, and there's a lot of things that impact these actuary numbers. But it is interesting to see that something's going on despite our improvements. We're seeing that people are not living as long.
Well, one of the things, these figures, of course, actuary business has been around for a couple of hundred years. We've been studying these types of numbers for a long time. So the numbers are correct that we are dying faster. And that's a sign that something else is happening besides what we're thinking, because we're being in America, having the best healthcare system, supposedly having the best food.
That's a lie, Nico. When we
exactly, that's why I'm saying it.
We've been repeating that. If we had the best, why do we rank number 37?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So we're told that we're the best, and people are believing the best, and
that's like
eating
watching
junk
the news
food.
And believing what they say on the mainstream news.
Right, because we're bombarded with this advertising. You've got to eat this, you've got to take this, you've got to take your shot now, be afraid of this. So our whole society is putting a lot of negative things in us to actually make us die, in a sense. Whether it's deliberate or not, really, to me, doesn't make that difference. It's there, and we have to have that negativity out of it.
Well, it's really, the whole plan is it's more of a maximization of profits and a stealth way to curb population growth, or a nice way of saying a eugenic nature to it. I think you have to be like sleeping in a hole if you don't understand that these things are exactly what's happening. Hey, there's a great video I need to share with you. I'm going to remind me to find it on the next break. It's about kind of really the history of how this whole platform began, and it's
Talking about the medical platform?
it's everything. It's kind of it just popped into my head. I'm going to find it on the break,
Okay.
because I want to share it, and some other people might want to watch it. But
Well, there's no doubt that, we have a chance to live a lot longer than our parents did and our grandparents. The only way to do that, I see, is eating really good food, taking some supplementation, getting rid of the bad stuff out of you through detox of some kind, and then having a positive attitude helps too. So stick around, folks.
we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Hi folks, this is Tom O'Brien. If you'd like to be the bank and get the type of interest they receive instead of the low interest rates they give to clients, then I have an investment you may want to take a look at. I'm offering 4-year secured first mortgages on buildable city lots in St. Petersburg, Florida. The investment can be anywhere from $30,000 to $75,000 per buildable city lot. The interest paid is 7% per year, paid monthly. Depending on the investment, the income per month per lot ranged from $175 for a $30,000 investment to $437.50 for a $75,000 investment. If you are in the CD market, you want to look at this investment. St. Petersburg is located in Pinellas County, which is the densest county in Florida. If you're looking for an investment with your principal intact that pays a good interest rate, this may be for you. The supply is limited, so act now. For more information on these secured first mortgage opportunities, you can call me at 877-518-9190. That's 877-518-9190.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com, educating investors.
And welcome back to the show.
And I found my video.
You found it? Okay.
Yeah, so,
what's the name of that video?
Okay, so this is a series. It's from the station. It's called the Corbett Report, and it's called Why Big Oil Conquered the World. And then there's the companion one called How Big Oil Conquered the World. Very, very interesting. I think everybody should
I'm going
watch
to
it.
listen to that
I sent you the link.
tonight. Okay, thanks. So this other article I've got here is Where Have All the Insects Gone? And, when I looked at this first, I thought about my trip down to the Keys because we 2 years in a row, around the same time of year, which is summertime, August, July. And when we went down 2 years ago, a lot of bugs, a lot of those love bugs that we have, and lots of insects.
Yeah.
But we noticed this year, I says, on the way back, I says, we're not getting all the bugs that we used to. And then I found this article, Where Have All the Insects Gone?
And before you say that, that's exactly when I read this, I realized that every May in Florida, usually your front of your car is just covered with the love bugs.
Yeah.
I haven't had that problem for a couple of years.
Yeah, it's been
Haven't
getting
noticed.
less and less.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so entomologists call this the windshield phenomenon. If you talk to people, they have a gut feeling. They remember how insects used to smash through windshield. And if you're a very data-driven person, you look at this kind of thing, and he says, but lately it's been less and less. And they've done this study in Germany, and of course they capture insects, and they've been capturing less and less over the years. And this last year was really probably the least ever. It started back.
Yeah, here's this author says, his pride and joy as a teenager in Nebraska was his 1969 Ford Mustang Mach 1 with some pretty sleek lines. I used to have to wash my car all the time. It was always covered with insects. Lately, an entomologist says he has seen the opposite. I drive a Land Rover with the aerodynamics of a refrigerator, and these days it stays clean. And I remember that was just a huge issue, you know.
Of course, if the insects are going, that presents a real problem to the food industry, because then we have to pollinate everything by hand if the insects are not going to do this for us. Also, there are many, many species naturally that live off of insects. So there is going to be a chain reaction if we have less insects in the world, and insects is another thing that we think might be food later on, too.
This reverberates up the food chain, folks. If you're an insect-eating bird living in that area, 4/5 of your food is gone in the last quarter century. So it's kind of like as the bees goes, wees goes.
Yeah.
And when we start messing with the food chain, and I submit that I'm very suspect of what the chemtrails, the spraying. What on earth are they spraying? That's another great movie. G. Edward Griffith wrote that. The same guy wrote The Creature from Jekyll Island.
Oh, yeah.
About the creation.
I love that.
Yeah, but he also did produce the movie What on Earth Are They Spraying?
Yeah. Well, just even if you don't think about the spraying in the sky, which you often see, just alone the Roundup and the stuff that everybody's spraying around the freeways and around your yard, this is impacting insects for sure. And of course, we love to kill insects. You know, or any insect we see, boom, blam. You know, instead of taking them outside, we don't want them near us.
And we've got a recommendation from Matt. Saying, have we read Estrogeneration yet? I guess that's read. Have we read it or seen it yet? I'm gonna Google that.
Anthony Jay's podcast on BG a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, well we'll go check it out. I'll definitely go look at that. Appreciate the share there, Matt. Always good stuff.
So we're dying sooner. The insects are dying sooner. What the heck is going on here? We're not living in a world that I envisioned in the '60s, where we were flying around in cars. Everybody was peaceful. No more wars. Things have definitely. It's a changed world. But we're living in this world, so we're the ones that can change it if we want to.
It's up to us to wake up.
And the way
eyes wide shut.
Yeah, and I just recommend that if you're going to work on something, work on yourself. I think that makes the most sense.
The man in the mirror.
There you go, the man in the mirror.
Woman in the mirror.
Yeah. So I really appreciate everybody sticking around for this, and these are just some of the fascinating things that we like to talk about.
That's right.
Just trying to discover how to remain healthy and what's killing us, and hopefully we'll be around next week. And,
that's right. Stay tuned.
Happy Halloween, folks. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.